Hi, everybody. It's Linda Leenstra here, IEP Coach. I have with me Nicole. She's one of my clients, and I just asked her here today to tell a little bit about the services and um, what she found was the most helpful in hiring an advocate. So, Nicole, what what would you say was the most important thing, or what led you to hire an advocate, or what can you tell everybody about having an advocate or an IEP coach experience?
So having an advocate made everything so much easier for me because they understood the laws. Linda, knew what the schools could do and what the schools couldn't do, and educated me on those laws that I didn't understand. She wrote communications for me on my behalf. She attended meetings with my husband and I. She was my support through the whole process. Um,
What was the biggest thing that brought you, what made you call me?
the,
Like what, without giving specifics about your child
mhm.
or your case, when did you say, oh, I need an advocate? Like what was the school not doing for you, or what information were you not getting?
I wasn't getting any information from them. I was lost. That's the best way I could put it, is that I was lost and I didn't know what to do and I didn't know who to turn to. And all I had been told was, you need to find an advocate. So,
So somebody told you to look for an advocate,
yes,
but without divulging too much, the school was calling you every other day.
yes,
You were getting called out of work. Your child was having a problem, or they were sending him home, right?
yes,
That was the biggest
yes.
problem, that they were sending him home like every day. I don't know how many times in a year. So someone said to you, call an advocate. Did you even know what an advocate was at that point?
I did.
Hmm.
I had some idea, and I had reached out to an advocate the year prior to calling you, and she did nothing. She wanted a bunch of money and a bunch of information, but she didn't spend really much time helping or talking with me. So we thought we solved the problem on our own.
Okay. But it didn't, so it continued.
Yes.
And so you decided to search for advocate, or a Google search or something like that.
Yes.
And you found me through a Google search. And when I say me, I'm listed as Special Needs New Jersey. Not to say that I only service New Jersey, but that's how you find me, specialneedsnewjersey.com. So when you called me, I give a free consultation on the phone. And what do you think was the best information that you got that made you then in turn contract with me?
Copy 3 people on every communication. That was the number one thing that you told me. And I contracted with you because I felt like you understood my problem and I felt like you knew you were going to help me solve my problem with my son
So
and the school.
in your free consultation, you got information that was valuable.
Yes.
And without puffing myself up, you were impressed with my presentation and the information I was giving you over the phone.
Yes.
And what happens is I give a free consultation, and then I said to Nicole, based on your problem, I can help you. We have to sit down and have a face-to-face consultation. So what happened at that juncture? Do you remember?
We talked about what my needs were, what I wanted for my son, what I needed from Linda, like what was my overall need from her and how could she help me. And we talked for quite a while, very thoroughly through the issues that were at hand and what I ultimately wanted to happen for my son at the end of the process.
Yeah, that's the main thing. The first thing I do is when I get done with a free consultation, we try to schedule you for a face-to-face consultation. I'll send you an email that says I need to see this, that, and the other thing, which means your documentation, your child's IEP, any communications you've had with the school, what are the problems that you're having. There's an intake, okay? But the main thing is, what do you expect from my services, okay? Do you remember what that was? What did you expect?
To get my son back into school.
Right, he was out of school at the time. Yeah.
That was I guess that was the immediate response, immediate need. The overall need was really to get him into the proper educational atmosphere.
And stop the school from calling you to come pick him
Yes.
up.
Yes.
Come pick him up. We can't deal with him. And now he's home. So what's parent to do? You were losing money. You were losing time at work. It became a full-time job, and you had no idea what to do.
Yes.
All right. So to speak to you parents out there, there's so many things that the schools do not tell you. There's no education in the community as to what do I do. I have a special education child or I have a child who's struggling in school one way or another, be it behavior, academically, um, maybe he just has a diabetes and medically needs something, but there's no information out there for parents that have a child who's just not striving in school for one reason or another. And then the school takes charge and they talk to you like they're the experts, which you expect them to be the experts. You put your child in their hands, and you're not teachers, you're not educators. You're a bus driver, you're a waiter, you're a waitress, you're a web designer, whatever your profession, you are not an educator. So you put your trust in their hands, thinking that they know what's best. Unfortunately, that's not the truth, and things happen,
Yep,
right?
absolutely.
Either your child's not progressing, or they can't handle whatever's going on with your child. They're asking you to pick up your child, which that's against the law. It's against the law for any school system to repeatedly call a parent to remove a child. Okay, so in turn, what happened was we sat down, we looked at all your documentation, you told me what you wanted, and we worked through that through letter writing, through phone conferencing. We want to talk about that a little bit. When you hired me, what happened? Was I Did I take your money and run, or
No, no, oh my God, no. So the biggest thing when I first hired Linda was my son wasn't in school and I needed him to get back to school so that I could work, my husband could work. And I think it was within like days, maybe a week, Linda was able to get AJ back into school and, you know, point out to the school and ask the school for information that where was the laws, what were the laws that were making him be, that they said that he had to be home. So immediately Linda was on off and running to help get me my immediate need done.
and we did it basically. I met Nicole face to face and her husband one time. I had her son's records, and through phone conferencing, letter writing, emailing,
Yep.
all these kinds of contacts, I provided services for their family, and outlined the steps as to what they needed to do to get their child the best education possible. The outcome of that was very positive. It took some time, but her son is now in a proper educational setting and doing wonderfully within only a month or two. He's been getting rewards. If you watch my Facebook, I spoke about how he was student of the month after just being in the proper educational placement for 1 month, where they struggled for 2.5 years, I think, with the public education that he was receiving. Okay. Um,
He's gotten more education in the last month and a half, 2 months that he's been there than he did for 2.5 years that he was in the public school.
right.
No question.
Right. So the main thing, and when we talk about copy 3 people, Nicole constantly, every time I talk to her, she's like, "Oh, I told another parent, copy 3 people." And so let me tell you that this is an important tidbit that we can give you today, because she finds it to be the most important. If you look at my website, I have a lot of referrals and things that say this was the most important thing that I learned from hiring an advocate. So to start with, if you're struggling with your school, you're having an issue with your education for your child, and you're interacting with the school, whether it's through a phone call or email or face to face, you need to let more people in that building know what's going on. So if you email somebody, copy 2 other people. Say it's something with the teacher. So you write your email to the teacher, you state your case, but copy the case manager, copy the head of special services, copy the building principal, at least 2 others, because that will provide accountability, so that this one person isn't just giving you information that you blindly follow and think is gospel. Okay. 2 other people now see that correspondence, email, or summary follow-ups. If it's a phone call, I don't care if you're standing in the grocery line talking to somebody and they go, "You know what little Johnny did today?" Follow that up with a summarized email. Copy 3 people and say, "Look, as per my conversation, whether it be on a phone or in person, on this day at this time, this is my understanding as to what transpired." Okay. Now there's other people in the building that know what's going on, so they need to be held accountable. What did you tell that parent? Or did you help that parent? Did you address what their question was? Okay. So that's a like really important piece of information. If we tell you nothing else today, do that. Okay. But I think we're going to meet with Nicole a few more times in the months to come, and from a parent's perspective and the advocate's perspective, help you understand what kind of help you can get. If you're struggling, if you're having trouble with the school, if your child is struggling, you feel you're not getting the right services, or you just don't understand what special education is all about, call me 973-534-3402. Sorry about that. Or look up my website, specialneedsnewjersey.com. Thanks for watching. Hope to hear from you soon.
Thanks.